What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about SoFi, go over some of the data points, what analysts have been doing, and just generally the latest in updates for today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did go up 4.17%, so kick-ass day, 1164 the low, 1235 the high. A lot of volume, so you did have 56.3 million shares being traded, 53 is the average. So you did have a lot of good hype first thing. A lot of that was stemming from yesterday, so comments that came out from Trump on how he's going to be easing off on Chinese tariffs and not necessarily playing hardball, and plus just not really willing to fire Powell, as even though I don't believe he could have, but still, aside from that, market took both as a very strong positive. We did get some further clarification on some of the tariffs or potentials, because it's all estimates right now. So it is estimated to be a tiered system. 35% tariffs on non-strategic items, and then over and above that 100+% tariffs on goods tied to national security. So at the end of the day, very good stuff. But this is where a lot of individuals are saying that today's green day was nothing more than a bull trap, because it's just a lot of hypotheticals. Technically, Trump just stated that he's going to be easing off. All of this is just estimates. So at the end of the day, like, things could change tomorrow, even after hours today. I think that's the downside of this current market, is just anything that is stated, you have to take with a grain of salt. Even if it's very bullish or even very bearish, anything can change. So at the end of the day, I think that a lot of individuals just had a hard time kind of grasping today, and maybe they're just a lot of individuals just disappointed that they didn't buy the dip. Now this is a second opportunity that the broader market did pull back, and maybe they didn't take advantage or whatever else. But I don't know, let me know your thoughts. Do you think that today was nothing more than a bull trap, or what's your kind of general thoughts on all that? One thing as well did come out associated to tariffs. It looks like the States is very close to a tariff deal with India, so pretty good stuff for that. Specific to SoFi though, there wasn't any news today, no SEC filings. Good news did come out yesterday though, mind you, but there's one thing floating around on social media posted by this individual, and ultimately it does show that behind the scenes, I guess the app's coding, they are working on level 1 options. Timeline, like, we don't really know. I think Anthony did signal that it's going to be coming, these types of updates, in the second half, if I remember correctly, in second half of 2025. But nonetheless, them working on this behind the scenes on just SoFi Invest, I think a lot of people would appreciate that. Might incentivize more member growth as well. So what's your general thoughts on that in the comments below? Aside from all that fun stuff, shorts did return 1.6 million shares. 12.84% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 138.36 million shares overall are being shorted. So good change of events. Like I said, shorts have been really increasing slowly over the last little bit. So obviously they're catching on that SoFi is ready to really move higher. As I even brought up in yesterday's video, the Elliott Wave Technicals is really projecting for it to get back into that $13 range, so that between that 13 and 17. So I think big things might be coming, so we'll most likely see over the next couple of trading days a certain level of FOMO. Cost to borrow minimum, now this is the third consecutive trading day of it staying positive, so kind of manipulation has really gone away. But there was one thing that did come out. It shows yesterday, but I believe it was posted early this morning. So there was another analyst rating, no price target given, just a buy rating. Jeffries John, who has a 54% success rating. So now this is 2 ratings that did come out in the last 48 hours leading into their earnings. That just doesn't make sense. So I don't know what's up with all these ratings, because nothing fundamentally has changed whatsoever. The macro standpoint and the political landscape that we're in is so uncertain. The fact that they're giving ratings is just mind-boggling. So what's your general thoughts on that? Moving over to options, 17 million in calls, 8.89 in puts, 49% of all the options being done today were bullish in nature. Good amount of options as well, so 26 million in premiums today, 15 yesterday, 13 day prior. So good to see. Good put/call ratio on a side note, so meaning that people are anticipating a little bit more upside as well, based on that. Bulls are anticipating for it to be between that $12.50 and $13 range, and then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 11 to 10.50. So those individuals clearly are anticipating a lot of today just to be a fugazi and just a bull trap and things like that. So what's your general thoughts on that in the comments below? One odd thing did come out though. There was 6,000 purchased at the $9 strike price for July 18th, 2025. So bears are getting a little bit more bold, if that kind of makes sense. So what's your viewpoint on that? I think in order for that to actually come to fruition, you'd need like a full market breakdown, and I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. I believe Goldman Sachs did lower the GDP estimates for Q1, but aside from that, I think just now people are waiting for tariffs just to see exactly how this is all going to play out. But these are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So 1.06 million, 1.02, 12.6, 1.3. So big money definitely was getting in on SoFi today. And based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price, everything that does show as an ask is a buy. So a lot of big transactions today. But moving on from here, with it closing at $11.74, trading between this pivot and this S1. So 12.46 is going to be that next strong target. Didn't really touch it, came close to it today though. But most likely that's going to be a pretty heavy resistance point. So just watch for that, at least in the short term. And then flip side, 1091 is going to be the next strong support. And I don't see that being touched, even worst case scenario, this week. So most likely with the FOMO, it will be landing between this R1 and the pivot, as I even mentioned in my video over the weekend. But aside from the analyst rating and all the other fun jazz, there has been no estimate change to the earnings per share or the revenue, but today it did successfully get above that 200-day moving average, so this yellow line right here. So generally that does signal a kind of change in the trend. So ultimately, if it is able to close and stay above that tomorrow, then you will have a nice push higher. So just watch for that going forward into the next couple trading days. Aside from that, 50-day moving average is $12.61. So pretty big gap, but most likely, like I said, this week we will be seeing a test of that, leading into their hopefully epic Q1 earnings. But $12.61. Only negative about SoFi is the fact that it is rather overbought, but sometimes it can stay in that kind of category for a while. So yeah, I don't know, exciting times are ahead. Do you think that today was just a fugazi, or do you think that it was legitimate and the start of something good for the broader market? It is to note, this is now the second consecutive day that Trump did state or tweeted or whatever he did on the Truth app, saying that people are going to make a lot of money. So I don't know, he's really saying it out there. So maybe we are ready for a nice push higher. All-time highs might be coming. Who knows what's coming around the corner. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And have you been buying? Have you been selling? What's your general thoughts on SoFi? I myself, I haven't really done all that much with SoFi aside from what I brought up over, I think, 2 weeks ago. That's my last purchase. But if it does somehow pull back maybe to the kind of the low 10s, possibly, that's where I'll be a buyer. Initially, I was going to buy in the single digit, but clearly market had other plans and just decided to move higher. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Discord. It is completely free. A lot of good people, a lot of good chat, talking about stocks, options, crypto, everything that you ever need in life. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.